Hello, soulmates. Welcome to the Onyx Academy. Today we'll be looking at this beautiful gown, the blue gown, and the measurements we'll be needing is our waist circumference, our hip circumference, the length of the skirt, and our waist to knee. Because we're going to begin with the skirt first, so that after it we can go over to the upper part, right? And also our waist to hip. So here you mark your waist divide by 4 at the upper part of your paper or your fabric. Then mark your hip divide by 4, and that is after you've gotten the length of waist to hip, right? And then you mark from your waist to your knee, and then from the waist to the full length of the skirt that you want to make. The skirt needs to be joined to the upper part to form a gown. I hope you understand. Okay, so here I'm marking out the line for visibility sake so that you see exactly the way it is. Then you connect from your waist to your hip, and then from the hip to the knee. Alright, I forgot that you need to also measure your knee circumference, your step guide, so that you can at least tighten the knee. We are using a miniature dress from here, so the knee tightening is not much. It doesn't even have knee tightening like that. Okay, so but I hope you understand what we are doing, right? So because of the nature of this design, our fabric, our paper is going to be on fold, right? So that we can get that drape in the front and then the sleeve. Alright, so the pouch here, that is this drop down in front, is optional given that we have drape in front, so it might not really bother, but then you can decide to fix it there for the sake of fixing. Okay, so here from the knee, we're measuring to the full length of the gown, and whatever you measure in front, you measure the same thing by the side so that you can have the actual measurement equal on both sides. You realize that the side will be higher than the front measurement. That's why it's good to measure the same thing in front by the side. So we're going to be cutting off or trimming off the little excess there, and then we'll connect from our knee to the full length of the skirt. All right, so we're making progress, and now we'll trim it off. Okay, I hope you understand what we're doing so far. Then after which you're going to open it up, and you need to also add your sewing allowance, but that will be when transferring to the fabric. But for here we do not have need for sewing allowance, so we're going to be cutting everything out. Okay, this is the full front, which is opened up, and we need to mark where the slit is going to be. You can use your bust span circumference, bust span measurements divided by 2 to get where the slit is going to be, or you can just discern that by yourself. You can just decide where you want it to be. Okay, so you mark out the lines for identification, know where your hip is, know where your knee is, mark it the right side and the wrong side, so that when you finish cutting it you will not be mistaken to know which part stays at the front and which part stays by the side. Okay, write out everything you need to write for identification. Even if you might not be the one cutting it, the person cutting it will know where to cut. Okay, so we've cut it open, and this is what we have for the front. Right now, the next thing we're going to do is to mark where the drape is going to start or where it's going to stop. You can see from the design that it did not get to the knee, so it has to be something above the knee. and but then it's going to be below the hip. I hope you get that. Below the hip and above the knee. Okay, so once you've marked where it will be, the next thing is to slash it. While slashing, you can use 1 inch difference. You can use half-inch difference depending on what you want to achieve. You mark out the lines, either 1 inch, 2 inches, half-inch, and then slash everything open. Okay, so we're going to slash them open, slash, 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 right? Slash everything out. And this is what we have. You need to slash, but don't cut through. Okay, they are two different things. Don't slash, but don't cut it through. Then insert a paper underneath, gum the slashes on top of the new paper, and trim it accordingly. This is called slash and spread method. Okay, there are two methods to achieve this, that draping on a dress form or by slashing and spreading, and this is slash and spread, especially if you're using a flat pattern, which is what we are using. Okay, so this is how the front is going to be, and then we'll keep this aside and we'll move over to the back. Now the same thing we marked at the front. Remember, at the front we did not add that was on purpose. For me, I usually don't add that in front of my um fabric, and from in front of my whatever, my skirt. But then this particular one does not need a dart because of the nature of the skirt. But this at the back, we also do not want to involve a dart in it, so we're not going to be marking a dart. But at this CB line, we're going to slant it to create an illusion butt at the back. All right, and please don't forget to tighten your knee. In this case, I think I forgot to tighten not the knee, the CB knee area. We tightened the side knee, but the CB we did not tighten it. So you mark out the length, make sure the side CB and the front side, the CF side, are on the same page. I hope I'm making sense. Then at the back, you can decide to take it all out as much as you want. Okay, but then by the side, they need to meet. You can see what I'm talking about. They need to meet by the side. All right, but going to the CB, you can decide to take it all out. Now this is to the main reason why the gown is so big like that. Okay, you will not just leave it like this. If you leave it like this, it's just going to be a moderate um gown or skirt. But we need to exaggerate the flare, and this is how we're going to be exaggerating the flare. We're also going to do a slash and spread technique here, so that the flare of the skirt will be um big. All right, will be exaggerated and look so beautiful. So depending on what you want, you can decide to go all out, like whatever you want to get. But here we're going to make it to look good. So this is inserting a paper to hold the slashes in place, just the same way we did in front. Want to hold them in place so that you can maintain the size of the flare that you want. So this is how it's gonna look for the front, one part of the front, and then we'll go over to the other parts of the front. We're also going to do the same slashing and spreading, right? The same method, the same everything.
take it all out, make it moderate, make it small, depending on the size of the flare that you want to achieve, right? So if you've not turned the notification bell, turned it on at this point, please come, let me ask you a question. We need to talk, like seriously, we need to talk. All right, don't mind me. So this is it for that side. I'm just using the pieces to put it together so that it doesn't shift. Okay, and this is the back, right? So at the back, you still do the same thing. You can decide to make the back extension as long as possible, as wide as possible, depending on what you want. Okay, but in this dress the back is quite longer than the front and it is quite big, so you decide what you want. This is just an illustration of how to go about this dress, so you can take it all out up to wherever you want it, depending on the fullness that you want to get. Okay, so we're going to be inserting a paper underneath to also hold it down, right? And that is what we're doing here. So the length at the back, you can see that it's quite longer than what we have before. Okay, so that's because if you need it to be long, it's fine. If you need it to be at the same length, it's equally fine. So in this case, we're going to be transferring everything on our fabric. This is assumed to be our fabric, but we're going to be using paper. Okay, so at this point, if you have your fabric, you're transferring to your fabric, but please don't forget to add your sewing allowance. This is still paper, and that's why we did not add sewing allowance. So if you're transferring to fabric, add your sewing allowance at this point. Did I forget to tell you that we've posted this video before, but because of these parts, I decided to delete it because I need it to come out just the way I want it. Okay, and that's because this channel is to give you what is the right information and not just for the sake of posting videos. Okay, so this is what we have for the back, and I so much love the outcome now than before. Okay, so for the front, we're still going to do the same thing, transfer to your fabric or transfer to paper. So after transferring, I used tape, sellotape, to put everything together in form of a skirt. So I assumed that I have sewn it. This is what I have. You can see the outcome here is so beautiful, it's so good the way I like it, and I love it just the way it is. So at this point, you can decide to trim it a bit so that it can give you that opening by the side if you want the leg to showcase more. But because this is a miniature, we're going to be leaving it like this. How do you see it? Pretty. So like I said before, if you need to transfer this to your fabric, this is the time to transfer to your fabric. But as for me, I've sewn the dress on paper. Okay, so you do what you are supposed to do. Now I did this part on the paper too, folding the slashes so that it fits into the other normal skirt. So you need to fold it and mark exactly where they should be meeting. It's very, very important. All right, you're going to remove the paper and pleat everything together so that it fits in like normal dress, but then you're still going to have your drapes around there. So for the skirts, we are done, we are done, we are done. So go to your sewing machine and join them together. So for the front, this is it. Put it together, join, leave the area you're going to be having the slit in front, and we are good to go. This is before the slashing of the skirts. You can see the flare is moderate. So if I now transfer the other one to the fabric, you will know how lovely it will be. So we are on the upper side, the blouse. You need to get your basic bodice. In case you do not have your basic bodice, get your basic bodice. And we have a video on how to draft the basic bodice. All right. So here we're marking the depth of our neckline, and you rule across from shoulder. Measure where you want the depth of your neckline to be, and that is what we've marked. And if you're looking at the design, the front is kind of a bit slanted, right? So that is the slant we are marking. But then we've not tightened the upper part, but we're still going to tighten the upper part. Okay, these things do not have so much strict rules. So long as you know what you're doing, you can always do it and get away with it. So we're going to be using a shoulder dart here. We're using a shoulder dart connecting to the bust point, and we're going to be tightening our upper busts. We're going to be tightening our upper bust. Depending on the size of your bust, here is a small fabric, so we're using 1/2 inch on both sides. Depending on the size of your bust, you can tighten your upper bust. If you're using size 38, 39, you can go 3/4 on both sides, right? So we're going to be tightening our under bust too. We're going to be tightening our under bust, but at this point you're going to measure the width of your neckline, the width of your neckline, of your off shoulder neckline, and then connect to the armhole from wherever it stops. It seems I'm talking too much, but I hope you can see the video clearly and what we are doing, and in line with what I'm saying, you can flow along. So it's time to cut off, or make sure you mark, fold it over to make sure that the both of them are meeting at the same point, right? My explanation will help to guide you on what to do. Okay, so after that, make sure you blend everything well and then trim it out. Cut it, cut it, cut it. Cut it. That's why you have the scissors. That's why you're the master of the scissors. Oh, so here we are. Here we are. Have you subscribed to this channel? Yes. Okay. Tighten your underbust. Have you tightened your underbust? Connect it to um your bust point and then to the waist. To tighten your underbust, you can, we've done this over and over and over again. You can see other videos to know how to tighten the underbust. Measure the size of your underbust. Use what is remaining to tighten your underbust. Okay, this is a small mannequin, so I can't say exactly the measurement I'm using to tighten it, but I've just giving you the method. Measure what you have as your underbust. Wherever it stops, use the remaining to tighten your underbust. So the depth of our neckline for the front should also be the same thing at the back. They should be at the same line, the same measurement for perfect fit. No one should be longer than the other. Okay, so after that you cut away your darts, and this is it, looking so pretty. Then your back measurement, tighten the back and cut it out. Right, are we good to go? you what the for the back, the width of the depth of your neckline in front should be the depth of your neckline and at the back. Now the width of your neckline in front should also be the width of your neckline at the back, right? So you measure what you have in front and use it to mark at the back. I hope you understand what just happened. Yes, we do. Great. I'm answering for everyone. Okay. So wherever the neckline stops, that is where, what is it? Wherever the neckline stops, that is where our armhole begins, right? That is where armhole begins. And then we trim it, we trim it, we trim it, we trim it. So like I was saying, have you subscribed to this channel? If you've not subscribed to this channel, I think this is the right time for you to do so. Did you get what I'm saying? This is the right time for you to subscribe to this channel. Turn on the notification bell for information on whenever I post new videos. Okay, so we're going to be tightening the bust darts now, and this will also add to the tightening of our waist dart and the upper bust dart tightening. Okay, we are moving ahead. So for the front of the top, you will notice that it has a different color. In that case, we'll be cutting out a part of the front that we're going to be replacing with a different fabric, a net fabric, a mesh, or whatever it is that you choose to use, either a fabric or a net or whatever. So you're going to be cutting that out and give it the neckline a little bit of slant, just a little shape. Okay, so here you're going to be cutting it out, and remember to write the fabric you're going to be using for this part so that you don't mix it up. Identification is very important in patterns. Identification is very important. I hope you're following. I hope you're not bored. I hope you're not bored. Should I sing a song for you so that you don't get bored? Now we've transferred everything to fabric, add your sewing allowance, everything that you need, and then join them together to your sewing machine, joining them together. I hope you know how to join them. Okay, so for the sleeve, we're making progress. For the sleeve, we're going to be having an off-shoulder sleeve. The first part of the sleeve at the upper part covers the armhole. If you look at the design very well, it covers the armhole, even though it's looking like a band or a strap. It's not a strap, it's looking like a band, but it covers the armhole. So you're going to be cutting your off-shoulder sleeve. Okay, we have a video on how to cut off shoulder sleeve. The link will be in the description box so that you can go and watch it. How to cut an off shoulder sleeve. The link is in the description box so that you can watch it and learn more from the explanation. Okay, so you cut, you cut. Don't forget to add sewing allowance. If you're cutting directly on your fabric, add sewing allowance. Add sewing allowance. So this is an off shoulder sleeve. And then for the middle part of the sleeve, this is where another work is. Okay, you pardon us on this one because our fabric is quite small, but in that sleeve it's a very big circle sleeve that was smoked like Canadian smoke. It was picked to give it that look, that roughy kind of look. Okay, so after cutting your fillet in a very big, like times three of the measurement, then you're going to smoke it. You're going to pick it to give it that ruffle look. All right, then either gather or pleat the excesses into the men's sleeve. I hope you get what I'm saying. The explanation is going to guide you if you follow through. But in this case, we just made a circle flare that is quite small. But in that one, you're going to make the flare very long. It's going to be long so that once you pleat or fold or gather, it's going to make it to pop up very well, to make it quite big. You can see what I mean here. Hold it to give it a ruffle look. I hope you understand. Right, and then fitting to the base of the sleeve on top and the sleeve below. I hope this is explanatory enough for you to go ahead and practice it. So this is what it's looking like. Don't mind our sleeve, the um balloon sleeve. It's not really like it, but we're going to leave it at that because of the size we're using. Okay, because of the size. So look at the skirt, look at the top. It's looking so beautiful. Have a wonderful day. Bye.